I'm going to go over grading by using my projector, and I have this handy dandy whiteboard so I can draw on it and show y'all how to grade, at least how I grade. Hopefully it makes sense, but just know that Sew a Little Seam Patterns has layers. You can kind of see it here, and then you can select the sizes that you want. That way you're only printing the ones that you need. I have a few examples for you. So I'm going to start off by just writing down the measurements. So a bust of 40 with a waist of 35 and a hip of 45. So this will put you at a 16-18 bust, a 20 waist, and then in between is 16, 18, and 20 for the hips. So I'm going to go ahead and mark all those sizes. So mark 20 and 16, 18. Go ahead and hide. Oh wait. Look at the back. I don't want this one. Okay, so hopefully you can see this okay. So this is just the back, obviously the fold line here. So with the bust at 16-18, we're going to start off just by doing this, and then the waist is going to go to a 20. So basically we are just straightening out that side seam to here, and then it's in between 16 and 18 and 20 for the hips. So I feel like depending on the fabric, you can either just continue this straight down on the 20 size, or get rid of that. You can just go straight down to the 16-18. Or if you really want to, get a better eraser. You can also go down and kind of just go in between the two sizes. And that would roughly be this graded. So you're just blending the two. So basically you're having a really straight side seam, which is totally fine. And then you would sew the sleeve with the whatever the bust measurement is. So that would be grading for this. Now for another measurement, let's go bust of 35, waist of 30, and a hip of 36. This would be a 0, 2, in between 8 and 10 and 12, 14, and then the 35 is in between 4, 6, and 8, 10. I'm going to go ahead and mark those sizes. And get rid of the other ones. Okay, so again, we always start at the bust. So the bust is at 4, 6 to 8, 10. So similar to the other one, you can go directly in between, or depending on your fabric, if you can make it a little bit tighter or a little bit looser, depending on your preference. So for this, I'm just going to go do this, the 4, 6. We're going to go between the 8, 10 and the 12, 14. So again, with this, since I went down to the 4, 6, I would go down to the 8, 10. And if I went up to the 8, 10 for the bust, I would go up to the 12, 14 for the waist. So for this, I'm going to go to the 8, 10. So which is basically just straightening that out to the 810. And then we're going to be going back down straight line to the 02, and you can make that a little bit straighter. You're doing it for real. So that basically is a really straight side seam. Again, for this particular measurement, if you needed it, if you went up, you can also do the 810 to the 1214, and then come back down to the 02. And then you would do the sleeve with whatever bust size that you did. For another one, bust, waist, hips. We have a 36.5 bust, 32 waist with 37 a little bit lower than the waist, and then hips are 40. And so that would be an 810 for the hips. The waist would be in between 1214 and 1618. And the bust is just slightly bigger than 810 size. And then the 37 for a waist measurement, it goes to a size 22 approximately. So I'm just going to go ahead and get all those sizes up. 8, 10, 12, 14, and then 22. For this particular measurement with the 36.5 bust, 32-inch waist, 40-inch hips, and then just below the natural waist, it's 37 inches. So I did some calculating just to double check. And from between the waist and the hip, I measured approximately at the, what is this, the 12-14 line, and it is more than 37 inches. So don't, even though this is all the way at 37 for this waist, we don't necessarily need to go out that far. There is some ease in the pattern, so definitely for this you'd want to make a test fabric or a test bodice and see how it fits, to see if this needs to be graded out more. But you'd start off by going at the 810, and 36.5 is a tiny bit bigger than 810, and so I would still do the 810 for the bust. And then the waist is 32, which is between this one and this one. So you can either go right to the 12-14 line, you can go all the way up to the 16-18 line, or you can go in between the two. I'm just going to go all the way up to the 16-18, and I'm going to come back down for the 8-10 line. So we want it to be a nice gradual line up to the 16-18. You touch that line, and then we're going to end up, I'm going to go up a little bit just because she said that is a little bit bigger. So you want to make sure there's enough ease. So I'll just go kind of straighten this out. And then we'll come back down to the 810. And so you can see that it goes out a little bit here, and then it comes back down. And so sometimes side seams aren't always going to be perfectly straight. Like here they go dip in, sometimes they can dip out. But when you're wearing it, as long as it fits right, that's really all that matters. And so there's that. And then for another adjustment or grading, if you are grading, need to go one up or one down from the current size. However, this only works on waist and hips. I would not grade up or down more than what the actual pattern is, because you'd then have to adjust the sleeve, which would be a pain. So I don't suggest doing that. And so what I usually always have to do is I'm going to do 0.2 and 4/6. So for grading one step outside, you would of course draw your 0.2. I would cut this out, my 0.2. And then since I only grade my hips down an invisible size, I usually slide my fabric to the 4/6. Let's see if I can do it this way. To the 4/6 line. And then I connect my hip here, or my waist here, to the hip. And so now I have, let me go back to what it was. So here's the 0.2. Now I have an invisible size down for my hip. And I don't do that. And that straightens out my hips because I am not very curvy. But yeah, so this is a little how-to on grading, at least the basic grading for the side seam. There's other types of adjustments that you can make in addition to just this basic grading, and I will go ahead and link videos on how to do all those different types of adjustments. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. Post in the comment here on this video. Post comments in the Sew Little Seam Facebook group. Just let me know. But yeah. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed this little how-to on grading your pattern.
To stay up to date on the latest videos, be sure to subscribe to my channel, or you can check out my blog at sewingandthings.com.